support the children's development. So that is what is our main programs and missions are. And we have four values that we work with: love, integrity, creativity, and cooperation. So these are our values and these are our mission and vision. So we have been working in this way for last 25 years, and we are very happy to some of the result. And I will also share some of the exciting findings. So as of ECEC, we do short trainings and also school consultation, and also we do like university training to the student. Like we have 1 year postgraduate diploma course that we do for university, and this year we have around 115 plus student, and some more are joining. There is also one demand of another group, so which is very good. And sorry, this is our alarm at the school. uh, and we are also working on Bachelor of Education with Kathmandu University, developing phase now. And so we want to have a admission announced soon in August. We are very excited about it because this will be a first of this type in Nepal. Of course, we do have Bachelor of Education, but not so much on a hands-on experiential learning. So we are also excited about that. So we do some international project like with the Himal partner and Norhead, and also with the Dutch partner called Wat and Aard. But we also do a lot of service like local service selling here in Nepal. So at this time we are more like 40% international income and 60% local income. So that is how we have been working for last 25 years. So that is all about ECEC. So just one more slide about ECEC. So these are our educational philosophy, very simple. In teacher education, we look at more how can we bring the relational mentoring and practice, guided practice in the thing together with the theoretical knowledge. But on the children's development, we look at more of a how can we create loving, caring, and stimulating uh, environment, but also the characteristics of teacher and parents, and also safe, resourceful, and organized environment for children. So that is our main focus. And so ICDP goes very well with ECEC because we have been thinking and trying to work for this for last many years. And in 2014, we had a privilege to host ICDP in Nepal. So we are also very happy that it goes in very well with our philosophy and with our way of thinking. And it really has given us kind of a boost to do what we want to do. So what is ICDP for education? So I was studying a little bit more because you all have coming from also the academic background. So I am much more this hands-on practical person. So I thought, well, I mean, let me try to find some academic words also. So that is very nicely explained by Ingeborg in that booklet. I will also share the booklet. I think you know it in ICDP website. We have that booklet. So what does this mean is actually who is in charge of learning? Is it teacher who is in charge of learning or the student who is in charge of the learning? And who is the director of their learning? Is it teacher or curriculum or exam, or is it students' own initiative and their own power as well as their interest? And what is the role of a teacher? Is it a controller, overpower, doer, or is it a supportive or facilitative? And scaffolding, and how much scaffolding is needed? So I think the ICDP for education is mainly thinking about this line. So a child should take initiative, but teacher need to scaffold. And also, like for example, where we come from the southern countries, we are much more power, like the teacher is here, the students are here. Most of the time we have a power balance like that. But in ICDP, the ICDP for education is the teacher student are coming together, and the role of a teacher is not to overpower or to control or to direct, but to support and facilitate. And I think that really is a very good, because if you go in democracy, or also if you go in how to say student-centered learning or child-friendly learning or innovative pedagogy, whatever name we give, it comes into the same frame Does the children have interest and ability in that learning, what they are supposed to learn? And what is the role of a teacher? Is it a facilitator of learning, or is it a kind of a director of learning? And I think that is one of the key aspect in ICDP. And Vygotsky keeps on coming like, what is the role of a teacher? Scaffolding for them to do it. And then how much scaffolding is needed according to their level. So I think when I look at the definition from the booklet, I think the most important point are bringing this concept again and again in education. Just you can raise hand, because I don't like too much one-way teaching. We teacher are bad teachers. So, but I like to have some more interaction. Oh, I have a question, or I have a thought, or I have experience. So it will be good two-way. And the other thing also is the in ICDP for education, teacher is more attuned with the child's level, initiative, and interest. Because in Nepal, it's a very big issue. If we start, somebody was talking about the child went to the school and then they didn't write very well, like how do you say, in when they are 5 year old, and the parent was so worried. And what were they worried were, how will they do the job exam later in life if they are not able to write? So parents are already worried about the job exam that is going to come when they are 25-year-old or some 23-year-old, when the children are already in kindergarten. So that is the thing, are we in attunement with the children's level of initiative or interest, or are we like bombarding with the exams, or like the requirement from the parent level? So that is, I think, one of the very important. And sorry, that is agenda. My typological mistake. So each child an active agent in learning, or the parent is, or the teacher is directing. And in ICDP for education, that it looks for more sensitive teacher who read faces of the children, recognizes the body languages, and become more aware about interest and potential and uniqueness of child, and manages positive interaction with the children. And I think these are the main aspect that we are looking for ICDP. We are looking in ICDP for education. Uh, Also, positive and respectful climate and atmosphere in with children. Also, redefining children's weaknesses. A lot of time we have a culture of like putting children down, looking at their interested, but redefining it and looking at some from positive side, and also positive mediation, and also positive limit setting. So these are the main concept that we are looking for ICDP for education. So recently, I also read this research report, so that was a very inspiring for me. Nicoletta just mentioned a while ago about the research done in Sweden. So they have looked at when we implement ICDP practices and theories in kindergarten, what happens? And so they have looked at from different level, and when they looked at from different level, the findings were there were a lot of change in educators and in their own motivation and professional role, also about their perception, also about their how they involve with the children, how should they involve in the children. So that was also very in a positively impact. The other thing also, it was more increased contact and the focus child, because in ICDP we kind of always think focus in one child and do these 8 interactive activity with the children. And there is a lot of improvement in the child when they focus with the interaction. And also the relationship has become more stronger. And educator perceive that focused child has become more secure and shows more trust to them. And I think that is what we are mainly looking for in education. Children feel accepted, safe, secure, and supported. And I think that is what keeps on coming in ICDP. And also positive development in the children, more improved social behavior, and developing this self-agency. And I think that is one of the key aspects. I will keep on bringing the word self-agency. So when they feel more safe and secure, they take more initiative and they develop more decision-making skill. Their self-agency and their interest and voicing out, that keeps on coming. And also in broader mental health, if we are able to feel we are in charge of our situation around us, much more a mental health problem will be subsidized. So I think that is already this ICDP is giving them self-agency, which makes them feel that they are in charge of the situation, and which is a very, very positive result. Just few reflection on this and also some question or something. So let's do a little bit of a interactive session now. So too much one way is not good. What are you thinking? I have other slides though.
Can I ask something, Pitambar?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry,
Please.
Patrick,
Yeah.
Irish but based in Norway.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to see this. I haven't read this document from Sweden, but do you know in that research, did they compare ICDP with other methods? Because we know that if you do work with teachers, if you give them more time, if you encourage them to reflect, they are going to improve. So we have to be careful to say, is this really ICDP or is it just teachers getting time to reflect and on their practice? Yeah.
No, the overall these all teacher were, so they had the main group and also the control group. So all the teacher in Sweden are more trained in education. So that is so the level of the beginning level of the teacher is the same. So in the control group they have these teacher who went through ICDP. So there was a difference comparison. However, of course, as you say, when the new knowledge or new inspiration comes, they become more motivated and it can happen. So something else also can bring it. So yeah, that is also true, but it is not looked at from that point of view in this research particularly. Thank you, Patrick. Very good clarification. Yes. And some more thoughts or?
You'll come back to kind of how you've been working with it. That's your next, yeah. So then that's my interest. But this is interesting. It is, and I think as both them and Denmark have been very kind of practically been working with schools. In Norway, actually, we've had problems in getting into schools. Because it's perceived as a parenting program in Norway, which is a bit different than, for example, in Denmark. So your experience then also in Nepal is very interesting for all of us and this research.
Yeah.
One thing that came to me when I was listening to you, Pitamber, is an interesting point that I remember years ago when we did some studies of ICDP in education. One thing that was also noticed was that when ICDP was applied in context of schools, particularly preschools, the findings showed that the teacher spent less time talking only themselves, but actually stopping and asking questions of children. In other words, children, there was less of what we are used to in context of school, which is rhetorical questions, a question that is really not waiting for an answer. And because of this emphasis on the relational, what was found that teachers actually stopped and waited to hear what the child would respond or what the child thought about something. And I think this is probably something that stayed with me as a kind of key I guess, result of applying this sensitive, child-centered education in general, but in particular with ICDP. So you probably have noticed this yourself in the work.
Yeah. I'll share some practical experiences and also some of the talk with our teachers who have been implementing it in their school. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Pitambar.
Yeah. Yes, Bobby.
I,
Uh,
I have one question because in Bangladesh we
uh,
do a mixed group, not
uh-huh.
particularly for teachers. So
Uh-huh.
how is in your context? How do you do this? Especially for only for the teachers or all caregivers are in that
Yeah,
group?
I will come back on that. I'll
When
come
you
back on
do the
that.
facilitators training, is it
Yeah.
exclusively for the teachers?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Bobby. I will share the experience
Okay,
in
thank you.
coming up slide. Thank you. You are how to say? You are looking forward what I'm going to tell. So which is very nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay, thank you, Bobby. And I think I will share the how we are doing, and also like again we will do more discussion. How what can be done. Hmm.
Yeah.
So there was another research also in Sweden they have done in high school. There was also comparison between the two high school. So one school went through ICDP, the other school didn't go through ICDP, and they looked at the test score of the student uh, for this national exam. And from overall, the test score of the students in the control school has significantly improved compared to the school that was not implementing ICDP. So again, it's not only for children of the young children, but it is also for the children who are like 10 to 15 or 16-year old. So it's not only for young children, it's also very effective use not only in the psychosocial area, but also in their academic development in that. So that is also very important for us to keep on thinking as we are going forward in ICDP. So some experiences in Nepal. So we have many of our facilitators who are very, how to say, very good implementer of ICDP. So I haven't put all of them their name because I just had a privilege to talk with them. So Ms. Rita Acharya, she has been implementing ICDP in her school for many years. And what she does is she looks at the parent that are, according to her, that are a little bit more, how do you say, complaining. Oh yeah, complaining, less supportive. And so they bring, like, of course, they special requests, and then they start to do the training course with them. But they also do so that is also the covering the question from Bobby. They do ICDP for teachers also, but they also do ICDP for parents. So these schools that I'm talking about, they do ICDP for teachers, ICDP for support staff, and ICDP also for parent. And so that is how they have been. They send the message to the parent and then whoever want to join, but they specifically also invite certain parents that they think need to go through the course. And what are the findings? In the teachers level, what they find is this redefining children. That is one of the key aspect, learning to look at children from positive point of view. Not looking at somebody troublemaker, but oh, maybe he is an active child. Oh, maybe he is a kind of a curious child. Oh, maybe he has difficulty being able to sit himself or something like that. So they start to use this positive language and positive redefinition because the other thing is in theory, a lot of teachers already know children need to be appreciated, loved, cared. I don't think there is a lack of knowledge on that. But what ICTP does, it provides the skill and how to provide love and care to the children. And I think that is one of the key aspects of ICDP. A lot of these practical activity that are there that really help them, like the dramas are so powerful, in those drama, the teacher really reflect on their own behavior and they say, oh, actually, I am not supposed to do that. And so this practical skill of how to show love, how to explain the things, how to show care, how to use the positive language, how do you use the positive setting. And I think those has been very, very important according to the experiences from Rita and Chandrama. The other thing also, what they say is, so normally some of those parents are very much complaining about, oh, this is not good in this school, this is not in this school. So they kind of a target also in a positive way. They invite them, can you join our course? And when they go through the course, they become so positive and cooperative to the school. They are concerned about their children. They are supportive to their children. Before, I mean, according to the teachers, before, I'm paying fee. You should do this and this to our child. I'm paying fee for you. So that was more a demanding parent. Later on, what they say is, we have to do it together. Teachers and parent has to work together for our children. So they kind of become much more positive and supportive, and also take responsibility in a positive way. And also, whenever they send some work at home, the parents are very supportive to do together with the children. Let's see, there is also one important thing. Oh yeah, there is one particular parent, it was a testimony. So she felt that that particular child that she conceived, that was not a wanted baby, that was just happened accidentally. And she really was so much, how to say, not nice to that child. And the husband, when he heard about the ICDP, he enrolled his wife in Nepal. That works. The husband can enroll the wife in the course. And so he enrolled the wife in the course. And when the wife went through the course, she cried so much, because she said, I really realized that I was treating my child as an object. Now I like to treat him as my son. And I think that was one of the key aspects. And after some time, they say, the husband came and told, the environment at home has become so nice. I like to come home on time now. And my wife also spends a lot of time with my child. And I think these type of things are so powerful. However, these schools, what they also do is they don't not only work with the parent, but they also work with the teacher. So the teachers and parents, both of them have the similar language and similar, how to say, activities with the children. So in that way, children feel much more confidence, happy, and also they are nice. They themselves are more empathic. Of course, teachers and parents become empathetic, but children also become very, very empathetic. So that was one of the very important aspect. Let me see one more thing. Oh yeah, that was not the intention of the course. However, the repeatedly what they hear is, when they do the parent group with the mother, they have these regular friendship with the group. So that's not the main objective of ICDP though, but it's a kind of a women group or group empowerment, and they feel friendly with one another, and they feel confident, and they make a kind of a, how do you say, group, the mother group, they regularly meet, and then they kind of have develop the support system for themselves. So that is also a very important aspect of a finding from these schools that we are, how do you say, our students are working in. And the other important aspect that kept on coming was patience level. The teachers are very less frustrated, and also the like learning to see from child's point of view, that keeps on coming, and teachers are more self-aware about their action. And so we have done this 3 days. So that is also something that we have just tested in Pakistan. So now also in Nepal, we are testing. What we are trying to do is, whenever we start a teacher training, we start with a 3-day facilitator level, parent level course for teachers. And then they kind of know all these language and how do you connect with the children. And we build the normal teacher training on that. And what has been our experience also in Pakistan and also in Nepal is to start with the 3 days ICDP orientation for teachers, then start the teacher training. The motivation for teaching, the motivation for learning, the motivation for playing with the children grow much more, because our method are much more play based. And a lot of time they feel, why should I do? Why do we do this way? But when we start with ICDP and build up a teacher training on ICDP, what it has done is it really has helped teacher to be much more motivated to implement the technical skill that they have learned in the teacher training. So the usefulness of the technical skill is much more when we start with ICDP. And that also has been in our experience in Nepal. We are testing in two places, one in Nepal and one in Pakistan. In both of the places, teachers are much more grounded and motivated about it. And there was one teacher I asked, what is the difference? They say, I get so angry and have, oh no, oh yeah, like I realize myself and I control myself. And that has been also what we have been hearing from the teacher a lot, also in Nepal, but also in Pakistan. So these are our quite important experiences and learning from Nepal. How like that supports the same thing like a research there. These two things kept on coming also in those research from Sweden, but also from our student. Self-agency and resilience in children. They are much more resilient and their self-agency has stronger sense of control. Also moral reasoning and accountability. So this didn't come so much in our Nepali teachers sharing yet, but the Swedish research, both of the research talk about moral reasoning and accountability. So when the teacher go through ICDP and when the school environment is like ICDP, so the moral reasoning and accountability is higher in children. And so I think that is also one of the key aspects. So all my knowledge and these practical experiences, these informations are from these 3 booklet or research paper. So there is one, this essays on ICDP and education. This is in our ICDP website. You can download it. You have to have I think the login credential for that. And first examination of the role of the International Child Development Program in school achievement, that is what I was talking about. And also what Nicoletta was talking about, this kindergarten ICDP study in Sweden. So most of my knowledge or the points are coming from these 3 booklets or papers. Let's see. Any question up till now? I have like the way forward a little bit and also discussion after that. But before that, I have only one slide left before we go. So do we have anything to share or question or like reflect on?
It's very interesting, and I've worked with you, so I know your passion for all this. I just wanted to know that the first 3 days that the session that you gave, and in that 3 days you covered the 8 themes of ICDP with the teachers.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the remaining part of the session is the teacher training part.
Yeah, remaining is the teacher training. So it's kind of a parent level orientation, not the facilitator level.
Okay. And just a question. So is it manageable to cover all the 8 themes in that 3 days? Like we do it for the first lead data, but the sensitizing thing, is it enough? Is just my question.
Yes and no, both. Sometimes it feels yes, sometimes it feels no. So again, we are testing it, figuring out, how it really has to go. So yeah, I think that we need to work with. We have done few groups and we feel, I think it is doable. Sometimes like when we were doing in Pakistan, I felt maybe we rush a little bit. So, I think we have to work further on this. It takes time to figure out. Yeah.
But it's very interesting. Thank you.
May I ask, Pitambar?
Yeah.
I maybe got a little confused. Is it that after that initial training, the teachers, they run a group for the parents? Because it sounded
no.
Who is
Not
becoming
in this
friends? Who is becoming friends in the group that you mentioned?
So sorry, when I mentioned 2 types. So one is normal 8 meetings. So that the friend is the normal 8 meeting parenting course. The other one that I talk about is just this starting with ICDP. That is for a teacher that is we are testing for this year.
Yeah, because I just wondered about that. I know teachers are very busy anyway, but
Yeah. They are two different things.
no, but I mean, I'm wondering about that. I've always wondered if teachers used more time with parents, I think there'd be a great effect. My work has been as a school psychologist, and I've often wondered if teachers miss a great opportunity to work more with the parents. But it's not something the ICDP could have a role in. It's an idea.
Yeah. But I think that is also one of the sharing from our student who are implementing in their school. They implement ICDP as a caregiver training for teachers and parents both. But they do see the bonding between teacher and parent is higher after ICDP. They do see and a lot of interaction and positive interaction and bonding. But that has been coming. But again, we need to do a little bit more bigger sample. So it's just 2 schools that have been implementing and sharing. But that there is some initial findings. Yes, it is improving.
It's I think working on this theme I think is very interesting, and then I know that one of the things that we know from ICDP is that time is of essence. Change happens because time is given. I kind of like the Danish model, because the Danish model is where they only work with professional caregivers or teachers. But they will be giving a course, and they'll have a kind of a basic course, and then you become a facilitator. And as a facilitator in a school, you will have groups the same that we have in as parent groups. They have the 8 meetings or several meetings. I don't know if it's actually 8, but still having that time in between.
Yeah.
So I think this time in between is one of the it's one of the keys for change. And I think that's the learning cycle there. How do you put that in, even if so adaptation, yes, but adaptation not taking away that time for change. So I would say 3 days in a row won't give you that possibility, real change possibility.
No, it doesn't fulfill the objective of like 8 meeting a parent group, but it does give a kind of a test. So again, like, because we do it with the consultation, because we regularly visit and guide them, so it's a kind of a different type of setup that we are trying to implement it. So but it doesn't how do you say it should not replace the 8 meetings. I think it doesn't replace the 8 meeting. That is very important to know.
But the thinking then, if there is a need to do an adaptation in this context, and I would always kind of go to start, why can you not continue with a version of 8 meetings? But it can be 8 meetings over, a week, where you have 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, that kind of thinking. But you're thinking that there's time in between. And if it's not 8, maybe that's also okay when it's teachers. But the thing of kind of giving it time in between, trying to compensate for what you're taking away.
Yeah, you are already coming up with my next discussion point.
Hey,
that's a good one.
thank you. Sorry.
That's a good one. Yes,
Bobby and I are in front of others.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you very much for your presentation. It's interesting, but I would like to ask, especially because my experience, I had also a facilitator training for teachers in Ethiopia. And what I observed, like you said, redefinition is one thing, but empathy also very, we saw how the teachers have changed their attitude when it comes especially discipline, instead of in fact beating was common, and they said now we will not do it, because instead of beating we have to give focus the children and explaining them. And that was what I had experienced. What is your experience when it comes to discipline?
Yeah, the same thing in Pakistan, but also in Nepal. In Nepal, the beating is not so explicit, so it happens kind of in a sneaky way. So it doesn't happen open, because we have a little bit more strict rules about it. But it does happen. It's not that it doesn't happen. It does happen. But what they say, it gets much less here. But in Pakistan, it's visible because whenever we were working with those group of schools, every classroom had a stick, literally a stick, and then so that was a normal. But now I went after 1 or 2 months of the training, and then none of them have a stick. And so one principal admitted, "Sir, yesterday there was a teenage boy. He was so bad, and I couldn't handle, so I used my hand, and I felt." I haven't used my hand for 2 months and I used it yesterday and I felt so bad. So she admitted that. So I think it does deeply inspire them to not handle the children with the object, but more of as an object, but to work with children as an respectful person. I think that keeps on coming. So in none of those classes had a stick, and then children are much more, and they themselves say, children are much more nicer to themselves and also nicer to us compared to before. So that is it. But we implement ICDP and play together. So it's not only ICDP, but ICDP is more of a teacher inspiration, but the main methodology is play-based methodology. So there are two things going on together. Okay, nice. So I like to share my last slide is about discussing how, that is the last slide. Because, there are few things. ICDP for teacher, 3 days basic before starting the teacher training. That is, we are trying to test how it works. And ICDP for parents, 8 meetings. That is very common in Nepal. So we do a lot of that. And also there is Ulab, maybe you can share. He has an idea of having ICDP in Thailand, ICDP school. You are here, he's here. So, sorry, it's on the spot. If you are not ready, that's okay. But he does, what he does, in their school, one day ICDP, and after some months, another day of ICDP with the parent, and after some month, another day of ICDP, but with the teacher, this ACE meeting. So how has your experience been when you implement ICDP as a whole school? Can you share something?
Yeah, thank you so much, Pitambar. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And Pitambar has also been very crucial to introducing and implementing ICDP in Thailand. So he was the one that trained our first batch of facilitators. And then we have this, it's based on what Heidi mentioned from Denmark, because in Denmark you have a ICDP certified school, Mølleholmskolen, outside of Copenhagen. So we visited that school and learned a lot from them. So we also implemented ICDP training for both parents and staff. So, and that is very important that both the parents and staff are trained in ICDP. So ICDP becomes a common or a shared framework and something to refer to both parents and staff. So whenever there are parent-teacher conferences or talks about the children at school and at home, ICDP is very good in connecting school and home, because that is an important thing about the school we are developing in Bangkok. That we want to have a good cooperation and collaboration between the school and home, because often schools are one arena and we don't often it's difficult to connect what's happening at school and at home. So whenever there are questions about screen time, or when the kids should go to bed, or things that do impact their time at school. They can refer to ICDP and what they learned, and a lot of parents have been really they like the ICDP, and for many parents it's something new, and but ICDP is contextualized at the same time, but it challenges some of the parents and their way of how they were, their own upbringing when they were kids. But the whole thing is that the important thing is that we use ICDP not only to train teachers, but also train all the parents. So it's the parents, they have to join the ICDP training. It's for 4 times, and often they also bring.
So it's not only 3 times; it's a 4 times. Sorry, I understood 3 times. So
yeah, and for the teachers, it's throughout the year. So we have it when in August before we start, and also throughout the year. And we try to have like mentors, like ICDP facilitators or trainers that are mentoring teachers individually. Yeah, we tried it out, but so we try to implement ICDP in many ways, and we find it very effective and useful at this school in Bangkok.
Okay, wow. Thank you, Olav. I think it's good what you're trying to do. Focus and then try to do it there. Thank you also, Chris. I think you are also one of the member who is helping on that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Olav.
yeah.
There just a comment. I think what Olav was saying about the importance of teachers working with parents, it can be very difficult because they have little time. But I think if you want the best results and a real deep change, that is the way to go. We also tried, when I worked in Colombia, many different models, trying to see how to train teachers and how to create that bond between teachers and parents that is so important in especially preschools and primary schools. And one of the best models that we discovered was when actually teachers attended the caregiver level, the 8 meetings. And sometimes it would be 6 because of their time limitation, but putting teachers in that role, where they're experiencing the program at caregiver level and asking them to provide examples from their family and so on, it had a deep effect on them. So then after that, I see that you're doing 3 days of training. After that, they would get the 3 days to become facilitators, and it worked really very well. And they easily then adopted this, understood much more deeply the principles, better than if we'd kind of spent, the usual facilitator training that starts from, without that prior or without the experience of living the program as a parent, because all teachers are parents, not all, but most of them are. And so, yeah, so that was just something that if you are experiment, you could try out and see whether, that could be another model. It takes a bit more time, but it's very effective.
Yeah, thank you. Just before Heidi, I want to say, because this is again, I want to hear different ideas, different opinion, because the thing is, we all know we should not compromise on the basic principle of ICDP, but at the same time, we should also think in a different level, because how can we make it more useful and more contextual and more user-friendly? I think those will be always our discussion. So please come up with your thing or idea, whatever you have listened or heard or experimented, because that is a kind of like, how do you say, we have to inspire one another. That is the objective of this last slide. Heidi, now.
Yeah, I was also just thinking generally, if there are others that have experience with schools, please share, because it's cool to hear different experiences.
Rita has. She's quiet.
Yeah,
Rita,
but I just wanted to continue because in Norway we are and I think when we're talking about smaller, smaller one-place projects, we can very easily, experiment with different things, and so kind of having this openness on what works, what doesn't work, etc. But also then to know that when we want to upscale, we're now working kind of as a group of trainers and facilitators who are on a national level where we are at different places. And then what we see in Norway that has really been doing upscale is that's when you need to kind of decide at some point, So the Norwegian version when it comes to working with employees is 6 meetings. I forgot about that. It's not 8, it's 6. And then we've kind of seen that when you work with where you don't have parent groups, as you said, but you have teacher groups or colleague groups, employee groups, that we've been having to rephrase that we're not private, but we're personal. So, because if you start becoming private, you're there with your colleagues, and that actually has shown problems. Sometimes it works well, but other times it becomes a problem. So then how do you have focus not only on you will share your experience as a parent if you are a parent, but the focus for the teachers in a teaching setting or in an education setting is on the child in the classroom or the child in the kindergarten, So they kind of pick one child and then they follow that child. But then they'll also talk about being a parent and, in that group, but on a not so private manner. And those kind of questions is also interesting to work more on. And I think the as Olav is also saying that the finding that model where you work both with the parents and with the teachers is of course the best model, where you integrate all, and this in each setting things can be done differently, but when we're talking nationally level, we have to kind of decide on a smart model that works and use each other's experience on that. If you stop sharing or you want to put in.
Oh yeah, no, because
that
I
we
just
see
want
each
to
other.
have I just want that we all understand this, but then also come up with the more things, that is the thing.
Nicoletta had a suggestion of someone who had some experience.
Yeah, I just thought, I don't know if Rita feels like sharing, but I know that this is Rita has a lot of experience with the preschools in Germany, and I think maybe we could hear from, if you feel like it. Sorry, I don't mean
Yes,
to.
I do. Thank you
Yeah, thank you.
for asking, because I was listening a little bit with big ears or what you tell about schools. At school in Germany, I would never do any as it's very difficult to reach schools in Germany with ICDP. I have several times presented ICDP in schools and they are very enthusiastic. But when it comes to become concrete and do something, they say no. So I'm really interested and working together between school and parents. It's absolutely illusion, I think. Not at that time now. So I have focused on the daycares. And as I do ICDP in daycares, the best model was having 3 days and the time between, as Heidi said, change can happen when time is given. So I do these 3 days, and between day 1 and 2, and also between day 2 and 3, I do 2 online meetings because I sometimes travel through Germany, so it's easier for me to work with them. And this is a good model for daycares, it turned out. So when we have day 1, the fundament and the first guidelines, and day 2, we start into the upper in the
first floor
sense making
yeah.
dialogue, and the third day we do the roof.
Regulation.
That's that's okay, that's working. And the school, I'm eager because one of my trainees, the facilitators I trained, has now an invitation in a school. And I'm really eager to hear from her what she will experience there. So she can present the training there, because some of the parents that she's training in a practice for psychotherapy, they told the school, oh, there is something interesting. You might try it out. And so she got the invitation, and it will be in August. I'm very eager to hear what she will experience there.
Oh, that's nice. Nice. Yeah, very good. Some more experiences, ideas.
Just to add on to Rita, the what we're seeing in Norway, and this, I think, what we're seeing, a lot of the things that happen here in Norway, they come, very soon they'll come to all over the world. Things that we're experiencing in our part of the world comes to other parts of the world, because there are people, it's kind of more has to do with our education background. But it's interesting to see that the teachers in here are they are struggling with lack of discipline, to use the old-fashioned word. The children are becoming much more self-confident, and they'll be also using their parents as backup for their experiences. So this if a child does not want to do a presentation, they will tell their parent, I don't want to do a presentation. Earlier, the teacher would say, but that's a part of the curriculum, so you'll manage, it's going to be okay. But now they're getting their parents to go to the headmaster, and then the headmaster is telling the teacher, this child does not want to present. We all see that, oh, this is not going to work. So I think this is actually an opportunity for ICDP into schools, if we have a good answer to the regulating dialogue. So if we use the regulating dialogue well, and talk about the whole relationship, not only the emotional part, which somehow has kind of been overemphasized, and then work on the regulating dialogue, then it becomes an answer to what the teacher needs, but without going to the extreme opposite of then starting to discipline the children, which is not what we think. We know it won't work. So finding that balance. So that's
I know what you mean. I see the chance. It's a big chance, but the system is so much from top to down organized and so hierarchical. And the teachers, and I think there was also a study in Sweden 2022, when they saw that ICDP is changing and empowering the teachers, because they feel more confidence in themselves that they can handle these discipline problems. So it's really a big chance, but it's like a kind of identity problem that teachers get when they try to be on this, like Pitamber showed us, this eye-to-eye relationship. That is a big change in their identity. And it seems at this time, teachers in Germany, most of them get more into the clinic, and they have burnout, and they are sick, than changing their mindset and getting more support, open for the support of ICDP.
Yeah, I think one of the problems that we also see in England, and I think this is common in Europe, is that the teachers are almost afraid of some of the children, because this idea that the child has the right to complain, or the right to do this, or right, you can't talk to me like that, I have the right, it's become so extreme. It's become nonsensical. And I think, it's almost like there has to be a complete re-education of the whole system of those who are writing curriculums, but also in general, it's just become ridiculous. Years ago, when we went and worked with the children's rights, this idea that the child has a right was very important. It was something that really made sense in the year 2000. But in 2026, it's become twisted. So we have to go back to understanding what is the real source, and why do we have children's rights? What is it really about? Isn't it about the child having a voice in a relationship that makes sense and is full of meaning? What rights? Why are we quoting rights? Why are we not quoting relationship or, the position of the child at school in relationship to others? And I think it's become, I've heard that this is quite common now, even in countries where I worked, where, all those years ago, like Colombia and so on, this feeling of that I have the right, that this is my right, has become like um, almost politicized, weaponized against teachers. So yes, I think your comments I really agree with. Yeah, I think Patrick wants.
Thank you, Patrick. Maybe.
Yeah, thank you. Very interesting. And I agree with you, Nicoletta. My experience from bringing ICDP into Botswana, there was a lot of fear of these children's rights, and parents were complaining a lot, very much misunderstood. But I wanted to get back to one of those basic ideas Pitambar shared with us about parents and teachers working together. And I do understand what Rita's saying, and teachers are in a very rigid system in our Western countries. Maybe this is where we can get some inspiration from our colleagues in southern part of the world, because you are showing us how this can work. And one school, according to Olav, is doing this in Denmark. And I don't want to lose that idea, because in all my work as a teacher and then as a school psychologist, I felt what a missed opportunity it is that parents and teachers aren't getting closer together, especially in the first few years of formal schooling, when the parents arrive there with their children and they'll do anything for their little 6-year-old or whatever. And the teachers don't grip the chance and spend more time with their parents because they say they're too busy. I understand all that, but it's a lovely and inspiring model, which I'm certainly going to take forward. And just to share, and Nicoletta will be especially interested in this, that I was in Colombia earlier this year and met a group of women supporting schools in a rural area. And they want me to go back and talk. They asked me to talk about trauma, and I will go back and talk more about that. But I'm going to bring in ICDP and encourage some of these ideas you've shared with us today, Pitambar. So thank you for a lot of inspiration here.
Oh, thank you. I'll just share my last slide and then I will pass to Heidi. I took quite a long time, but I'm happy with all these ideas, because then it's not a one-way boring, That's a very good. Thank you so much for participation. Just my last.
The floor is open for everyone all the time. So we've just started work with. Yeah.
So this is my actually thinking. Of course, there are challenges, but ICDP has some solution. It is not a solution for all. That's also we all need to know. It's not solution for all, but it has some solution. But how can we adjust, re-innovate ICDP principle and help our children, teachers, and school? And I think I like to end my question. I don't have answer. We don't have answer. I think, but we all have this question, and I think we all have to work together and kind of create our answer. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and I will stop my share. So I pass this floor to Heidi. You can also lead discussion. Up to you, Heidi.
Yeah, answers to Pitamber's question there. I think one of the things that you've been saying, which I think is very interesting, is that putting ICDP at the base, and I think also Olav was saying, it's a shared. This is what we see from the schools that are actually managing, that there's a shared framework, a shared language, and especially as Patrick is saying, if that can happen between teachers and parents. There are some issues to this that has to do with a different type of relationship. So there is a school that we're working on here in what we call Hauguru-projektet, which is a kind of a community-based project where the schools have become very interested because they hear it from different places. It's not just from the government, but it comes from different places, and suddenly they become interested. and what they and there they kind of they see the possibility in integrating it into their work, but it needs a leadership level. I think maybe that's one of the clues. You need to get your headmaster on board. But then, as Pitamber is saying, this base, how it becomes a base, and I don't think it's before you get Møller Homeskole in Denmark. The reason why they managed is because they had a very eager headmaster who really wanted it. So they even included a ICDP for leadership team, which is a specific program for the leadership team. So that thing of kind of lifting it up and doing not little here, little there, but actually doing it properly, one place, and making that, I think that is maybe a smart implementation strategy. But yeah. So other inputs?
Yeah.
I just want to comment on one thing that occurred to me as I was listening, that we see, at least in England, I don't know, a lot of the schools have too many children. You have a teacher with maybe 40 students. I don't know if that is the case in Nepal, whether you have big classrooms, but one of the reasons that, even though there was a lot of interest in ICDP here by the Ministry of Education, we never quite could get it off properly because it's just so overwhelming for teachers to have, even though they have the strategy of, putting, children in smaller groups so that they have activities, so on. But it was really difficult when it comes to primary school and so on. Anyway, that maybe that's not the problem in other countries.
Well, yes and no. In some school, yes. In some school, no. But there are varieties, and of course, I think, yeah. But in the southern part, the documentation of children's thing is not so big as in the developed country. So they are, of course, the classroom situation are stressful, but then they don't have other these documentation stress after that. That is the good thing with the teacher.
Okay.
Rita?
Yes, I want to add what I said before, because teachers are really getting sick, and in school also the same in daycares. And I suggest that what I try to do is that ICDP is an idea to empower and to support caregivers. And it's my idea to sharpen this aspect of ICDP, to say we help you to be more in ease with yourself, to be more healthy, so connected to the issues of mental health in the area of caregiving and also in the area of teaching. So this is what I try to do in Germany, and it really gets some interest here, because we are not able to talk about the rights or the needs of children and their development when the caregivers and the teachers are not present. They are just somewhere else, and they're always on the brink of becoming ill. So it's my intention to just support teachers and caregivers and use this very, very valuable aspect of ICDP in these times where we lose more and more contact between us as humans. Yeah.
Thank you, Rita. Olav?
Yes, it's what Rita is saying is very interesting. We also experienced that teachers, because some teachers are trained facilitators, but the other teachers, that when they are trained as for the first, they're trained as caregivers. So they go through the same thing with talking about their childhood memories and ideal teacher. So ICDP, through the training, the teachers also work on their own self-care and reflect on their own relationships at home and also besides from school. So I believe that ICDP is helping and maybe preventing teachers from getting sick. If we use it in a good way, ICDP will prevent the teachers from getting burned out and getting sick, as Rita says. So ICDP does not only help them at school in their like professional role, but also help them on a personal level. So whenever we have ICDP training for staff, a whole day, at the end of the day, we will have reflect on how it helps them with their own, we call it self-care, or how they take care of themselves. So ICDP is helpful in many ways.
Thank you, love. Sulakshana?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I'm from Nepal. So I just wanted to say the similar thing like what Olaf just mentioned. We recently have started conducting ICDP meetings here, and we've completed with 2 schools. So in context to ICDP for teachers, the thing that which we have been talking, which Pitambar sir has mentioned. Yeah, I think for us it was both the sessions were very fruitful. The feedback that we got from the teachers there, we had conducted this for teachers from playgroup, toddlers to grade 3 for 8 sessions. It was 8 meetings held. And the feedback that we received, or the observation that we had, was they were very happy to get this platform, the ICDP platform, where they themselves could be very emotional, share their childhood memories, talk about their personal life, the relationship in their family with their child, as well as with the other members of the family. So, so once people here, we hardly, emotionally went out actually. So just only around few people we went out, but ICDP gave them such a platform that, they were all sharing their personal lives, the good memories, bad memories. So yeah, so once they got emotional there, it was easy for them to relate to their personal life, as well as the children in the classroom. So, those were some feedbacks that we received, that, now things have changed, and we have started looking at our classroom children through ICDP lens. So those were the kind of feedbacks that we received. So yeah, I think it is very essential that we need to conduct such meetings with the teachers. And yeah, and again, talking about empathetic identification, once we let them talk about their lives, it was easy for them to empathize with the children in the classroom. So it was easier. So yeah, ICDP has made it a little easier here. So that's the feedback that we received. And so let's see, we have started with 2 more batches for teachers. So yeah, maybe next time I'll share my more feedback. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shanti. Thank you, Sulakshana.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for your feedback. Yeah.
Bobby.
So here when
you present yourself, just to remember to just say where you're from, as from, yeah. So Bobby, you're from Bangladesh.
Yes, I am from Bangladesh, and when we started training, giving training, facilitators training to LAM Hospital, where they have English medium school, it was really difficult for us to reach the teachers. And there were some teachers or facilitators, but few weeks ago or last month, I heard they have really made a very good plan that the teachers are reaching to the parents. So now they have regular ICDP sessions with the parents, and 9 meetings they are doing. So it takes some time, and also when the leadership, as you were saying, Heidi, that when the leadership understands the importance of ICDP, it makes easy to do this, but it really takes some time.
Wow, that's a nice one.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, and I think this thing of what is that implementation? It's we need to really get a proper, a proper implementation in one school. You need leadership on board, But sometimes it can't come from there. It has to come from below. So if you only have in the school that we have had here, the leadership is on board, but she's had a little bit of problems. She's really good, but she's had a little bit of problems just recently in her own school of some staff, and then she loses her authority. So then suddenly it's not so popular because whatever she promotes is not so. So here it's a top down, bottom up, top down all the time. I think is what we have to look for, because you need to have someone who shows in practical sense. So that's where you get there. And I do believe that when you come, if you really want to upscale this, we need to find the models which look the same so that it can be replicated again and again very easily from one place to another. But as we're piloting, we can kind of look for different models. Yeah. Patrick?
I just wanted to mention it also is important to know that ICDP isn't a cure-all. It won't solve all the problems of the sort of things Rita's referring to, the stresses the teacher's under in the classroom. There's a whole batch of classroom management programs. And I used one of those in Norway, assertive discipline from Lee Cantor in the United States, which I didn't think was going to go down very well in a Norwegian setting, but it really took off in the Bergen, in the area I live in Bergen, where one whole school took on this approach to how do we manage the whole classroom. It gives the authority to the teacher. It shows the teacher, you're the boss, but use praise, catch the children being good. And a lot of it is similar to ICDP. And I think it could be a very nice complement. I don't think ICDP alone would really help this stressed teacher with 40 children in a British school. Oh my goodness, I didn't know it got that bad. But yeah, so it's very important we know there are other programs that maybe can cover other bits of what the teacher needs.
Just a little input before Anamika gets the word, and that is that in the school in Denmark, they did manage, because there were huge problems at that school with discipline, etc., and they went from basically no problems, or at least problems were easily tackled by the teachers, reduction of sick leave, and this was after 2 years, after 4 years, low on the scores of on the educational learning scores, and too high on the scores in a multisectoral. But then again, it was really anchored in leadership. So I think maybe it's whatever you do, just do it properly. So getting a combination. So they used only ICDP. Yeah. Anamika?
Yes, hi everyone. It's really encouraging to hear Pitambarji. I work at the Norwegian Embassy in Kathmandu, so we try to monitor all the activities, at least be updated of ECEC activities. And so this call actually happened by default, but I wanted to raise my hand and at least share that it has been such a wonderful experience listening to to Pitambarji, but also to all the participants that are present. Something really that I've noted down in my notebook is, the empathetic identification and the burnout of teachers. We work very closely with Ministry of Education here, and one of the things I keep reiterating as an individual person, is just that rather than putting on the Norway hat, is until and unless we don't make teaching profession as most dignified, reputable profession, I think it's very difficult to get results at the classroom. And it's very interesting for me because within 32 people, a group of people who are attending this call, we see the importance of ensuring teachers are also safe mentally, emotionally, right? And it really helps. And the reason I wanted to acknowledge this was also because at the moment we're currently looking to support foundational learning with the focus on early childhood education, because that's an area that seems very untapped. So I just wanted to take the floor to thank everyone, special Pitambarji. We should continue the dialogue back in Nepal once you return. But I keep following the Facebook page very closely, so it's always helpful, and always looking at your website, because the idea also stemmed in being inspired from the principles of ICDP. So this was something that we thought last year, And now over the year, I think we're finally ready to sort of move our way into foundational learning. It's very preliminary again, but I think these kind of sort of insights, really help, especially those who are managing teachers who have been running kindergarten. And how do we ensure that there is the balance of not just teachers, but also then again parents? And it's a combination and it's a partnership, right? So for me, I just wanted to express my gratitude as well to the ICDP team and to the organizers, and especially Pitambarji. It has been very enriching. I also have a 7-year-old, which is why I'll have to leave. And I took the opportunity to just also say thank you. I will leave now. But really looking forward to all the presentation materials, and we'll continue to keep up the dialogue forward as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Anamika. Very nice to have you.
Wonderful, wonderful to have you, and also Anamika, that I know that Pitamber and ECEC are sitting with some really interesting models of collaboration with Kathmandu University as well, which I think we've been. So yeah, good to have good talks. Wonderful. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, any other issues, last minutes? Thank you for joining on, Anamika.
Pitamber, is it possible to reach out to you when I'm planning something with people who support schools in Colombia? I'd love to chat more to you. Do we have each other's email addresses, or how would I find you?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I can share my email address in chat. So if any of you need the things, I think that is actually very good. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm not good in these putting contact. Sometimes I feel, oh, I should have given my contact, and then I forgot. So thank you.
Wonderful. I think then, Nicoletta, we have come to the end. It's time is out. So do you want to end the session, Nicoletta?
Yes, I think this was a very interesting session. Thank you, Pitamber and Heidi and everybody. In fact, I think it's a very stimulating subject, and I'm sure that we could spend a lot of time looking at the different models of implementation of it. Ultimately, I think it depends on where you are, country you're in, the kind of project you're planning, whether it is small or large, and it's really doing what Pitamber mentioned, where you're experimenting, trying this, trying that, until you find the right model for your country and for the particular situation. So all the inputs are always there, and I think people should feel free to write to each other and get more ideas about all the different experiences. We never seem to have people from South America. I think they find probably the language thing, or I don't know, they're never there, but they have had a lot of experience with education, because there was a huge project that was run in Boyacá in 123 municipalities, and they really have experienced it, tried different models and come up with. So it's a pity they weren't here to. I have forgotten, it was a while ago, but they would probably remember better. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone. It was lovely to see you as always, and we keep calm and carry on, I guess, and yeah, with lots of empathy and love. And I leave you with these thoughts, and thank you again. So bye, everybody, and God bless.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Pitamber.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.